Former Attorney General William Barr was once considered, and note the word once considered, a close ally of former President Trump. Now he says there was no reasoning with the ex-president over his false claim that he had won the election. Now, Barr resigned after confirming there was no widespread fraud. In his new book, it's called, listen to this title, One Damn Thing After Another. He praises his former boss, but he also makes some damning observations. The former president has disputed some of the books. He calls it a fake book. And Bill Barr joins us at the table. He also calls you a loser and a coward and lazy. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that after. We'll get to that in a second. Because the title of the book, I think, is very appropriate. It's One Damn Thing After Another, because you talk about how you were raised, your parents, your wife, your 3 daughters, even that you played bagpipes. So you'll be happy to know that we do have a set of bagpipes here. We're going to expect you to play us off later on in the show. But you start this book, Bill Barr, with a bang. You've just given an interview where you said that there was nothing to back up the president's allegations of widespread fraud. You get a message that says he wants to see you immediately. You go down to the Oval Office. Even when you walk in the room, they're telling you he's back there waiting for you. Right. What are you thinking as you're walking back there knowing that he is highly, highly, highly irritated with you?
Well, I thought it was going to be an unpleasant meeting and
it was.
And possibly fire me. I expected that. I told my assistant when I left the department, you may have to pack up for me, because he frequently tells people to go home, not go back to the office. And so I went back there, and he confronted me over my comments, and I told him that it was the truth, what I said. And he started raising some of the fraud claims, and I, in detail, refuted them and explained why they were not, had no merit. And he got madder and madder. And then I said, look, Mr. President, I know you're unhappy with me. I'm glad to tender my resignation. And boom, he hit the table and said, accepted. Everyone jumped. And he did it twice. And I left. And as I was pulling out of the White House, 2 of his lawyers came and pounded on the window, government lawyers, and said, well, the president doesn't want you to leave. He changed his mind, so.
But it does sound like a scene out of The Apprentice. You're fired, and you say that he does slap the desk.
Yeah.
So, but you didn't leave then. Why didn't you leave? He clearly didn't want you to stay. You had already had some misgivings. You write in the book that your relationship had pretty much deteriorated, but you didn't leave then.
Right.
Why not?
I didn't leave then because I wanted to see how this was playing out, and I thought I could continue to look at these claims and make sure that people understood that most of what was being presented simply wasn't true. And on December 14th, which was the day the state certified the vote, which in my mind and in fact really locks in the election results, I didn't think there was any way it could be turned around at that point. I tendered my resignation.
Do you think that he really believes he won this election, or do you think that he's just talking?
I really don't know the answer to that. He acts like he really believes it, but whether he does or not, it's also a convenient, it's a convenient position for him to take.
How close were they to actually seizing the voting machines?
I don't think that they were never close, because that would have required either me, and I said no, or there was this crazy idea of DOD doing it, and there's no way DOD would have taken those machines.
Now, yesterday you basically said if former President Trump were the Republican candidate for president, that you would vote for him. My question is, why would you vote for someone who you described as losing his grip, he stopped listening to advisors, and became manic and unreasonable? Those are your words. So why would he get your vote in 2024?
Well, in our election system, we have a binary choice. Right. I think we have choice between 2 people. And unfortunately, I think the American people deserve a choice they like, rather than voting for the lesser of 2 evils. But I would view that situation as the lesser of 2 evils. I'm a Republican. I think that the very progressive policies that seem to have the center of gravity in the Democratic Party are something that have to be resisted, and I couldn't see myself supporting a Democrat. I also, when answering that question, I said, it's hard to look 3 years in advance and see what other information becomes available. But right now, I realize the downsides of Trump, but I think under those circumstances, I still would report the
I think the pros outweigh the cons.
Well, I would support the Republican candidate. Now, the problem with Trump, he's very headstrong and impulsive. Before the election, he would listen to me and his other advisors and Secretary of State, and eventually he would come around and things pretty much stayed on track. I think we were acting within the law. After the election, he shut that out. But even then, the lawyers held the line and, talked him out of some of the, crazier steps.
But I want to follow up on Nate, because I think Nate's making a really good point about how you talk about him in the book. You said you never really wanted to work with him in the beginning. You said he was a political opportunist. He was charming and humor. He had humor, we know that. But he was also crass, bombastic, and petty. You say after the election that in the final months, he only cared about himself. The country and principle took second place. And so it's so interesting to me that you've written a book, John Bolton has written a book, Stephanie Grisham has written a book, saying all these negative things about Trump, but nobody said this while he was in office.
In real time.
In real time. Why didn't you share it with us then? Don't you think that people had a right to know what you were thinking, how bad you thought it was?
Well, the thing about Trump is what you see is what you get. I mean, his crassness, and those were the words, by the way, of my business friends describing him to me, but his personal failings, including his pettiness, are always on display. So that was not a secret. I was content with the administration in the sense that I agreed with the administration's policies. I thought his impulsiveness was two-sided. It lent a certain dynamism to the administration, and he could get things done and push and push and push. It had a bad side, too. But I didn't think there was anything to speak up about prior to
even though
the
you
election.
write, Bill, he has little regard for accuracy of statements. I call that being fluid with the truth. Some people call it out-and-out lying. That you seem to see on a regular basis.
As I say in the book, I go back to that statement by, I think, Selena Zito that said that the media takes him literally, but not seriously, and his followers take him not literally, but seriously.
Would you work for him again?
No, I wouldn't work for him again.
You wouldn't work with him again, but you would vote for him again if he was a party nominee.
If I was faced with that choice, I hope I'm not faced with that choice, and I don't think at the end of the day the party will go in that direction.
The other criticism about you is that you seem to act as his own personal attorney as opposed to the Attorney General for the United States.
He acts it, or
no, you, Bill Barr. That you were acting as Donald Trump's personal attorney. Specifically, they were talking about the Mueller report, where you came out and many people thought it was a preemptive strike about the report before the press and the public had to see it, that you were acting on his behalf as opposed to acting for the country. Well,
I tried to do what I thought was the right thing to do under the law, the facts, in any criminal case that I was presented, and I did that faithfully. Now, on the Mueller report, the problem there was that I had asked Bob Mueller to give me the report so I could make it public quickly. And there's stuff in the report that, under the law, cannot be made public. It's a crime.
It was redacted.
And so he didn't do that. But I said, look, I don't want a gap between the time you give it to me and the time I can make it public. And they gave me a report that had not been redacted, and that I knew it was going to take about 2 weeks, and the country had to be told what the bottom line was.
When was the last time you spoke with Donald Trump?
Donald Trump, the day I resigned, December 14th.
Wow.
Would you like to have a conversation with him?
Not particularly. But you don't have a conversation. You mostly listen.
Right. William Barr, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Next time, bring the bagpipes.
One damn thing after the other is available and on sale today.
Thank you very much.